Besides the obvious of getting a win, what do you try to accomplish on a night like tonight?
Well, for us, especially with our backfield, our offensive backs and our defensive back, they're new, they're green, so it's a chance for them to get some more playing experience.
All right, thanks very much. Good luck tonight.
Thank you.
All right, let's throw it across the field now to Scott Zarilla.
Thank you very much, Craig. And with Ray Paglio, the head coach of the Mayfield Wildcats. And, Coach, you got off to a great start last week with a 34-21 win. And tell us a little bit about that game, how you think you did, and, you know, how the team looked.
Well, we were real pleased with the execution that the offense made. 34 points was a good number of points, but our offensive line controlled the line of scrimmage, and we executed a couple of plays very well for some big gainers. So we were real pleased with the execution.
It was interesting because your team gave up 21 points, but in all actuality, the defense just gave up 7. The special teams gave up 14. How do you assess that?
Well, it was a number of, I guess, a combination of things that really kind of led to that. Our starting kicker had pulled a groin muscle and a little bit of inexperience, not enough time working on it with the rain last week. So I think we've got it rectified this week, but we were very pleased with the defense, only giving up 7 points. They played very well.
Now, looking at tonight's ball game, you play a Wickliffe team that has a high-powered offense. They've got a quarterback in Chris Wamser that runs a wing tee very well. How do you adjust to that? What do you look for tonight with that?
Well, obviously you have to be ready for their bread and butter plays. They like to run the trap off tackle. They like to run the sweep, and they come back with the fullback trap and the bootleg. So they run it as well as anybody does. Wickliffe is an outstanding football team, well coached, and they've run the wing tee for years, and they know how to do it.
Now that the season's gotten underway, it's time to start asking about injuries. Did you suffer anything last week, anything in practice this week? How's the team health-wise for tonight's game?
No, we're about as good as we've been. We were very fortunate last week to come out of it with no injuries, and we're very pleased with the way the young men have played this week at practice, and we're healthy.
Coach, thanks for stopping by. Good luck tonight.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.
Okay, we'll be back with more of the pregame activities. We'll be back with the opening kickoff between the Wickliffe Blue Devils and the Mayfield Wildcats right after we take this time out. You're watching high school football on the Cablevision Community Programming Channel.
Used in the world in the last 40 years, none had more power than this one.
Just a couple of seconds away from kickoff here at Mayfield High School. The Wildcats will kick off. Wickliffe won the toss, and they have elected to receive the ball. And, gentlemen, a beautiful night for football. This is what it's all about mid-60s and pretty dry out there.
As you mentioned, this is the way you like it, but the field a little bit soft. We talked about the field earlier. It's in good condition, but it's soft, so that may have some impact on the way the kids make some cuts.
Wickliffe counting heads to make sure they've got enough people on the field. Again, we are all just about set for football here. A beautiful night. Week number 2, both of these teams gearing up for their league season, which begins in 2 weeks. So these are important games early for these people, trying to get all the bugs out before they get into the games that really matter. Going back deep for Wickliffe, number 22, Mark Lantos, along with number 21, Fred Martin. Tony Trevisano set to kick off the home season for the Mayfield Wildcats.
May not take long, Craig, for you to have trouble checking out Wickliffe's uniforms with a little bit of water and mud down on the field. I know how you hate to have teams with white uniforms.
The grass is nice and thick down on the field, but there is a lot of water underneath. There's a whistle. We are just about ready for action here. Tony Trevisano boots a squibber. Very short kick taken by one of the up men at the 25. Across the 30 down to about the 32-yard line. That was returned by Mitch Fink, one of the up men. Offensively, Chris Wamser brings his troops out. He'll have Joe Cisternino and Mark Lantos in the backfield. Fred Martin and Mike Ball at the split ends. The tight end is Dave Joss, and the big offensive line of Anthony Capora, Mike Novak, Dave Fantinelli, Mark Pawlowski, and Fred Cook will be trying to protect Chris Wamser. one of the better quarterbacks coming back, and only a junior this season, so they run out of the tee. Cisternino is number 34 and Lantos number 22. Mike Ball is the man in the slot. And they hand the ball right up the middle to Cisternino, and he falls ahead for a couple yards. Defensively for Mayfield, the four-man front of John Alaric, Tony Trevisano, Neo Freight, and Dan Alfieri up front. The linebackers are Mark Samich, Josh Patty, Jeff Menta, and Jim Mormino. And the DBs, Victor Angolia, Mike Reed, and Raul Leone. So a 2nd down and 7 await the Blue Devils. They've got the ball on their own 36-yard line. Again, they have Mike Ball in the slot on the right-hand side. And they run a little delay to Mark Lantos, and he gets maybe a yard or so out close to the 40-yard line.
That's a complimentary play to the first one. The first one was a straight dive where they're trying to get the pad set and get into the running. Now they run the counter play off of it, off the crossbuck series, the complimentary play, and it picks up a couple more yards.
John Alaric was the man on the tackle.
Dave, after this next play, maybe you can tell our viewers at home, Wickliffe likes to run a wing tee. Maybe you can get into that a little bit and explain how that works.
3rd down and 4 coming up for the Blue Devils. They keep the ball on the ground. They come to the near side to Lantos, trying to get around the corner, and does. He's to the 45, across the 50 into Mayfield territory, and down to the 41-yard line. Slow developing play, but he did make the corner and picked up major yardage all the way down to the 41.
He showed a little acceleration when he turned the corner there. You see that they set the wing this time to the wide side of the field in an effort to get outside, and did a real nice job blocking up front.
Mike Novak, number 58, a great lead block.
So a 1st down and 10 for the Blue Devils. The ball on the Mayfield 41-yard line, and I'm sure that Coach Matt Chinchar happy with the way his team has come out and run the football thus far. Wamser is a threat to throw the football, however, and you have to look for his favorite receiver, Dave Joss, the tight end. Flags fly, and I believe we have encroachment against the Devils, and the first mistake of the evening will march them back 5 yards.
Encroachment. Remember. Offense. 5 yards. Still first.
So now a 1st down and 16, and those are the kind of mistakes that drive you crazy. Didn't even get a chance to snap the football.
And they're typical of games this early in the season.
So a 1st down and 15 for the Blue Devils. And Wamser goes back to throw, being chased by Trevisano. Does get away. Flags fly. Pass is complete to Dave Joss. He'll pick up about 6 or 7 yards, but we may have a holding call to bring this one back. Wamser showing some good
got him safe spot.
movement in the backfield.
Captain,
we do have a
Green.
holding. I watched that the whole way.
Towards the end of the run.
So Wamser.
You want the penalty from back there, which would be 10 yards. Take it back.
So that'll be a 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. So we'll have to see exactly what.
Offense, 10-yard penalty, 1st down, and the flag.
Craig, I'm looking forward to get a chance to see Chris Wamser. I've read a lot about him last year, had an outstanding sophomore season, but has a good arm, throws well, and what he does that not a lot of kids can do at this level is he throws well on the run. He's tough to get to. Matt Chinchar likes to call him a multi-threat. We might get a chance to see him throw the ball now.
1st down and 31. See what kind of plays in the playbook for this one. Wamser hands the ball again to Lantos, trying to make it around the right side with some running room. Going to get a good chunk of the yardage back and down to the 43-yard line of Mayfield.
Well, I tell you what, Craig, I like that call. They went back to the outside run off of that same crossbuck action that gave him a big yardage a little bit earlier. You don't have to gain 31 yards on 1st and 31. You got to get some of it back, and look at it now. It looks like it's going to be about a 2nd and 11.
And Chris Giancola saved it. Watch number 30 on your screen. He's going to be the last line of defense to save this run here. There he comes across. And you're right, it's they're going to call a 2nd and 12.
Good-looking play.
Coming down to the 9-minute mark here in the opening quarter. 2nd down and 12 for the Blue Devils, so the 2 mistakes are almost wiped out. Straight up the gut they go to Cisternino. He fumbles the football, and Mayfield recovers on their own 38-yard line, so a turnover for the Blue Devils, and Mayfield has life in great field position. And offensively, they will come out this way. Joe Consolo is the quarterback. Chris Giancola and Tony Trevisano, the men in the backfield. The wideouts are Raul Leone and Dan DiAugustino. And the big guys up front, Tom Agresta, the tight end. As you watch the play again, Matt Dugovics, Mark Samich, Dan Alfieri, John Alaric, and Pete Munson are the big boys up front. pushing the defensive lineman around, they hope.
I believe it was Josh Patty who stripped that ball away for the Wildcats.
They mark it at about the 38-yard line, so a first down and 10 for the Wildcats. They pitch the ball back to Giancola, and he picks up some running room, maybe 5-6 yards on the play. Defensively for Wickliffe, they have a 5-man front. Mike Augustine, Mitch Fink, Joe Cisternino, Fred Cook, and Mike Novak are the big guys up front. The two linebackers are Mark Kowalski and Dave Joss. And in the secondary, Scott Robinson, Fred Martin, Mark Lantos, and Mark Novak start the ball game for the Blue Devils. Gain of 5 on the last play, so 2nd down and 5 await the Wildcats. Ray Paglio telling me earlier this week he's happy to be back on the game of the week because he hasn't lost yet. Said I hope he was knocking on wood when he told me that.
Oh, it's like he told me. I mentioned to him that we want to get him before the game for a quick interview, and he said, well, don't you also get the interview at the end of the game as well? I said, well, if you win, we sure do. So he's looking forward to big things tonight.
Straight up the middle to the fullback, Trevisano. He might have made it to the 45-yard line, so maybe a yard on the play.
Yeah, they set up with twin receivers to the wide side on that play and then ran the dive part of the option series into the short side of the field towards the tight end.
And it's important early on when you've got a runner like Giancola who picked up almost 200 yards last year to showcase that other back.
Absolutely, and you know they're going to be keying on that young man, so they've got to be able to mix it up a little bit.
We saw that last week with Rich Cardellone from Solon, who gained 95 yards, and the much heralded Kim Herring was held to 65, but Cardellone was the major cog in the offense last week as the off running back. A 3rd down and 4, a little swing pass to the near side of DiAugustino, and he will not pick up the first down, maybe get a yard on the play. He's tackled by Scott Robinson on the near side, and a 4th down awaits the Wildcats and a punting situation.
You see on the replay, number 9, Raul Leone may have released downfield to do a little bit of blocking before he got the initial wave of blockers, and subsequently they couldn't get up with the first down.
The Devils did a nice job breaking on the ball out of their zone coverage as well.
Matt Waggle will be in to punt the football for the Wildcats, and Mark Lantos goes back deep. He's standing at his own 20-yard line. It's a 4th down and 2. High snap right through the hands, and down he goes. So an error by the Wildcats puts the Blue Devils in excellent field position all the way down to the 30-yard line.
Craig, I think a lot of that's going to have to do with the wet field. You're going to have a wet ball, and the ball's going to snap through and unable to get a good grip on it. Can't say for sure, but I think it's a good bet.
You know, so many times, Scott, early in the season, the kicking game can make such a big difference in the outcome of the games. It looks to me, just having watched these two teams compete only for a few minutes, that they're both well-drilled teams, both on offense and defense, and it could very well be that the kicking game could be the difference tonight.
So a 1st down and 10 on the Mayfield 30-yard line. Chris Walmser brings up the troops again. Lantos and Cisternino in the backfield, and a flag flies again, and another encroachment.
Do we have movement, or is someone lining up off sides?
I think they're lining up off sides. And what they're saying this year,
5 yards.
what they're saying this year is as soon as that center puts his hand on the football in high school football, you cannot move. If he was off the ball and you lined up off sides and you came back and you wiggled around and you got your 3-point, you could even come out of it as long as his hand wasn't on the ball. As soon as he's on the ball, you have to be set. And it's caused a lot of problems the first couple weeks of the season getting used to that. So 1st down and 15, that's 20, almost 30 yards in penalty now for the Blue Devils. And there's a counter to Lantos. Not much there. The ball loose, but the whistle had blown.
Well, Lantos is establishing himself early as the go-to guy, and I think the Cats were looking for him to get the ball on that one.
So a 2nd down and 15 now await the Devils.
Neo Frat, is that how it's pronounced?
Neo Freight.
He was the first one to get in there and make the initial hit.
Five minutes to go here in the first quarter. Walmser goes to pass, finds Lantos in the flat, and Walmser got hammered. A nice 6 or 7 yard pickup by Lantos. So a 3rd down coming up for the Blue Devils.
Walmser nice and relaxed as he dropped back, had a little bit of pressure, but made it look easy.
So a 3rd down and 7 await the Blue Devils. Ball probably in 4-down territory at this point. So they've got 2 cracks at 7 yards, 4.5 and counting here in the first quarter. Lantos again, hip-hopping around, and he's going to lose a yard. Tackled by Jeff Menta, among others. Raul Leone also in on the tackle, and just couldn't seem to get around the corner.
Well, here again, that crossbuck action has been good to him early on, and now I think they're keying on it. I really like their play selection to play before. That play action sprint out was really a nice looking play. Maybe we'll see that again here.
4th down and a long 8, maybe even 9 yards coming up, and of course the Devils will go for it. Mike Ball again in the slot, just outside the tight end, Dave Joss. We'll go to the one-man backfield. Cisternino, the only man in the backfield. And Wamser to throw across the middle, and it is incomplete. Threw it behind Joe Cisternino. No flags on the play, so the ball will be turned back over now to the Wildcats.
I think Ray Pagley's got to be happy with what he sees out of his defense thus far, because granted, Wickliffe has been able to move the ball fairly well, but they haven't really, as they say, they've bent but they haven't broke. And this is the same defense that Mayfield clamped on West G last week, only giving up 7 points. So I think if Mayfield can keep it up this way, they're going to quite possibly keep this Blue Devils offense in check.
So Joe Consolo brings the troops out. He sends Dan DiAugustino to the top of your screen. Craig Barna to the bottom. They hand the ball to middle to Giancola. Breaks the tackle. He's across the 35 to the 40 and puts a shoulder down up to the 46-yard line. He just ran over Mark Novak.
I tell you what, that was an excellent job by the little guy of taking on the tackler, and that's what you like to see out of your running backs. He breaks an early tackle here right at the point of attack. Here he's coming upfield. Now take a look at him take on that tackler, and that's the guy that's quite a bit bigger than him.
Let's make sure we give credit to number 25, Craig Barna. Great downfield block also.
So a 1st down and 10 for the Wildcats. The ball on their own 45-yard line. The sun has just about set. The lights starting to take their effect on the field, and just a beautiful night for football here at Mayfield, and it's been a dandy so far.
And the moon has just rose across from us. The sun is set and the moon has rose.
They pitch it to Giancola, and he is tackled maybe for a yard gain. Tackle on the play by number 33 for Wickliffe, and that's Mike Ball.
This is what you're probably predominantly going to see out of the Wildcats tonight. They are a predominantly running team. They're about a 60-40 from what Ray Paglio said. Not a lot of throwing. They like to keep their offense basic, throw a lot of different sets, a lot of different formations, and I'm sure Dave can help us out with those as we go along.
2nd down and 9 for the Wildcats. D'Agostino goes to the top of your screen. Craig Barna, the man in the slot on the left-hand side, and they roll out Joe Consolo. The lefty fires, has a man in and out of the hands of Craig Barna. And a 3rd down and long await the Wildcats.
He had to hurry his throw just a little bit. He was starting to get a little pressure, but he's a good-looking little quarterback, and he's going to make some things happen tonight.
Well, Ray Paglio had a lot of good things to say when I had a chance to talk to him a few weeks ago before the opener. Wasn't really sure who the quarterback was going to be after Mike Diebold decided to play baseball over football, but he's happy with the way Consolo has come along, and he thinks he's going to have a fine season for him.
Yeah, you read in the paper about Diebold deciding not to play football, but Pags will tell you that decision was made a long time ago. It wasn't something that happened right at the beginning of camp, so there was no animosity at all going on between Diebold and the coach.
Well, I believe Consolo quarterbacked the last 4 games of the season last year.
They bring it to the near side to Giancola, breaking some tackles and flies out of bounds. Depending on the spot, we'll see where they put the football. It looks like they're going to put it right on the 45-yard line, and that should be a 1st down.
You know, Craig, also some great downfield blocking. Brian Wallen and Dan Alfieri. Watch the bottom of your screen, number 60, number 64.
He did a good job of having to really hurry that pass on the split screen, and I think they just came up a little bit short.
Didn't get a chance to see them, but did have a couple of real good downfield blockers from the linemen.
They spot the football at the 47-yard line of Wickliffe. So Matt Waggle will be in to punt the football away. Mark Lantos back deep. Now we're getting into the field position game now. Mayfield trying to take some of that good field position away from Wickliffe that they've had throughout the night.
Oh, maybe not.
The quick pitch, and the pass is complete to Mike Reed, and he is down inside the 15-yard line.
Hey, big play. We talked about the kicking game making a big difference. What they do here is snap the ball to the up back.
Jim Mormino.
You'll see it right here. The punter does a nice job of making it look like the snap was over his head. He gets the pass out there, and boy, that's a really good-looking play and a great call.
Mike Reed all the way down. Yeah, that's a great call.
When it works, it's a great call.
Hey, I tell you what, but I applaud that call regardless, because sometimes that's what you need to have the difference between a win and a loss.
Absolutely.
The ball is on the 16-yard line of Wickliffe, the deepest penetration thus far by the Wildcats. Giancola got nailed as he came across the line of scrimmage by Mark Kowalski. Picked up a yard or so, but a nice innovative play by the Wildcats. And the way the defense have played, I guess if you're Ray Paglio, if you don't make it, you put it in the hands of your defense.
I'll tell you something else that I'll be interested to see here. They set those twin receivers very wide out to the wide side, and the inside twin was not really covered very tightly, so it'll be interesting to see if maybe they come back getting in as close to the end zone as they are.
Mark Kowalski on the tackle. We'll hear his name a lot. One of the better linebackers for Matt Chinchar's squad.
No gain on the play. 2nd down and 10. The ball is on the 16-yard line. Consolo rolls out, sets himself, finds an underneath man. That's Menta. Breaks a tackle and into the end zone for a touchdown. Jeff Menta with some fine running and a 16-yard touchdown pass from Joe Consolo. We're not going to be fooled this time, folks. We're
I
waiting
almost
for the...
was.
Is everybody okay?
Yeah. Incoming. The extra point attempt by Tony Trevisano out of the hold of Jim Mormino.
See here, they're using the old swinging gate where they set the majority of the line over to one side and just leave the center holder and kicker. Then they shift over as long as the defense is set correctly.
There's a botched snap, and the extra point will be no good. So with 56 seconds to go in the first quarter, Mayfield leads it by a score of 6-0. A couple years ago, we did a game, and they snapped the ball out of that formation with the line over on the other side.
Absolutely. If they don't leave somebody over to cover that center holder and kicker, they're going to run a play out of there, and that's the reason they set up that way. Here we're going to look at the touchdown play. Nice play action. I couldn't catch the number on the reception there.
Jeff Menta was the man on the reception. Did a nice job of making out Fred Martin, a young sophomore.
Dave, I notice quite often through the week when you have a quarterback who's either right or left-handed running to his opposite side and throwing, that's a tougher play than it really looks, isn't it?
Especially for a young quarterback. I tell you, it's one thing to be running towards your dominant hand side, and it's quite another thing to be running across from it.
I think Contola did a nice job because, again, he rolled out. He was under some pressure, locked his feet, made a nice pass. You know, actually, he rolled to his right. He's left-handed, and he kind of threw back to his left. So really a tough pass, but he made it look pretty easy.
And he had to get his feet set in a hurry, just as you mentioned.
On the wet field, which wasn't easy in itself.
Tony Trevisano set to kick off back deep. Will be Mark Lantos and Fred Martin. Lantos is 22, Martin is 21. Trevisano with a squib kick his last time.
He doesn't approach from very far away.
Well, they had all kinds of problems with the special teams last week, so I think they're anything under the 50 they're going to be happy with. Taken again by the up man for Wickliffe. That's Mitch Fink, and he's the only man to touch the ball so far on special teams. So Wickliffe will get the ball back. They trail it 6-0. The clock is stopped with 51 seconds to go here in the first quarter.
You know, Scott was mentioning the slick field, and they could have something to do with it as well. Maybe their young kicker, they don't want him to take a hard approach and lose his footing, and they've taken a conservative approach. But I'll tell you what, that's a lot of field position to just say we're going to give up on every kickoff.
But they gave up a lot of field position last week with 2 kickoff returns of about 75 yards. So.
Well, I thought they did a nice job of covering on that kick.
The ball is on the 27-yard line of Mayfield. This may be the last play of the first quarter.
I don't know for sure, but I think Ray Paglio maybe feels a little more comfortable at this time with his base defense out on the field than the special teams.
Straight up the middle they go to Joe Cisternino. He pulls ahead for a couple of yards, close to the 30-yard line. 17 seconds and counting here. Craig Dees along with Scott Cirilla and Dave Winham bringing you the ball game here from Mayfield High School. So Mayfield has to be happy with the way the first quarter went defensively. They have done the job, and offensively were able to push it in once they got the ball inside the 20. And that'll do it for the end of the first quarter. The score after one, Mayfield 6, Wickliffe nothing. We'll be back with second quarter action after you watch this. We begin quarter number 2 here from Mayfield High School. The ball is just outside the 30-yard line for the Wickliffe Blue Devils. They trail it by a score of 6-0. A second down and 7 awaits the Devils as the referees figure out where the ball is going to go and which ball we're going to use. So excellent first quarter, I thought, for both teams. The fake punt by Mayfield is really the difference in this one.
You can look at this game at the end, and there's a good possibility that is going to be the difference in this ball game.
Fred Martin in the slot, and they're going to run Lantos in motion. They roll Wamser out. He's being chased. He throws to Joss underneath. Check that, Cisternino. He's all the way up to the 36-yard line, so a couple of yards shy of a first down, and third and short coming up.
The Cats switched to a 2 deep with 5 under coverage on that play, so they got a pretty good break on the underneath pass.
That's the first chance we really got a good look at Wamser as he rolled out and found, as you mentioned at the top, his favorite receiver, Dave Joss. Tight end also plays some defense. He's a good one.
So a third down and a yard. And Wickliffe would love to get a first down here, if nothing else, to keep the ball out of Mayfield's hands. The defense was on the field a long time in the first quarter. And a cool night. It was started out pretty warm, but it got cool fast. So sure, we'll see what we always see about this time of night, and that's a lot of cramps in the second quarter. So third down and short for the Blue Devils. Straight up the gut they go to Joe Cisternino, and he has the first down and more, close to the 40-yard line. So the Devils do convert on third down to keep the drive alive.
As you mentioned, Craig, I think that's a big first down for the Blue Devils. The way that Mayfield has been able to get their running game in gear, there would not have been a good situation for the Blue Devils to give the ball up. Mayfield get good field position and, maybe chew up another 5-6 minutes moving the ball downfield.
First down and 10. Joss is a wide out on the near side. Joe Cisternino, the lone setback. They run Lantos in motion. They hand him the ball, and he is nailed behind the line of scrimmage. Big number 55, Josh Patty, coming from his inside linebacker spot, and he put a hit on Mark Lantos.
I don't know if we get a chance to see it on the replay, but Patty kind of faked a blitz as he came up to the line quickly. Got into good field position, probably found a little seam on the offensive line and was able to blast right in.
Something else that might have been a tip-off. They sent their tight end and wing to the wide side, and that's been a tip-off that they're going to take it around that way, and they may have just slanted right in that direction because it was from the backside that they got the penetration.
A second down and 15 for the Blue. It seems like they've been in second down and 15, third down and 11 for the whole evening, except for the first 2 or 3 plays. They have been going backwards. Up the middle they go to Lantos. He's hit, and he will be dropped by Jesse Temple.
Craig, that's good credit to the Wildcat defense. You can see why they had such a good performance last week. And this Blue Devil offense is nothing to turn your nose up about. They can move the football. They've got a lot of weapons, especially at the skill positions, as you mentioned to me before we got on the telecast.
And with a 2nd and 15, them going with a power-off tackle like that, it'll be interesting to see if they're going to run a play-action pass here. But also it shows good confidence that they figured they could pick up 7 or 8 yards on a power-off tackle.
The 3rd down and 12 now. Lantos in motion. They give him the ball, trying to get outside. He's able to break a tackle. Back to the original line of scrimmage, plus a couple more. He broke a couple tackles and did a nice job picking up the yardage that he did, but a 4th down coming up again and a punting situation ahead for the Blue Devils.
Now, Dave, what do you feel on a play like that? You've got 3rd and long, and they're going to go with the run play like that. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think that Lantos is, as I mentioned earlier, has firmly established himself as the go-to guy. They went to him through the air a little bit earlier in a similar situation and got the 1st down. This time they decided to use a misdirection run.
Even though through basically a quarter and a half, the Devils really haven't been able to move the football that well on the ground.
So the punt sails out of bounds of Mitch Fink, and that will be great field position coming up for the Wildcats. They'll have the ball at the 39-yard line, I believe. Actually, they're going to move it all the way up to the 46-yard line, so not a very good punt at all.
Well,
kind of off the side of the foot.
Execution of these special team assignments are so important, not just at the high school level or every level of football, but most particularly it seems like it makes such a difference in these early games.
So Mayfield comes back on the attack. Great field position. The ball's on their own 46-yard line. The last time they had the ball, they went in. It was a pass to Jeff Menta from Joe Consolo.
Take a look at these twin receivers split wide. Let's see if we're going to see them try and take advantage of the defensive alignment. They've really only got 1 to cover 2 out here.
Right.
And they hand the ball straight up the middle, and that's Giancola for a yard or 2.
Now, Dave, is a setup like that more to try and pull a couple of defenders off to the other side of the field?
Well, they've used it twice, and both times they've run away from it. So, yes, obviously they're just trying to have the defense adjust, get some cover guys over there to the wide side of the field and away from the play. But I'll be interested to see if they don't come back to it and try and take advantage of that 2-on-1 matchup up there.
They only gained a yard on the last play. 2nd down and 9. Clock is running. 8 minutes to go here in the first half. Mayfield leads it by a score of 6-0. Matt Waggle is the wide out to the near side. Consolo throws, looked like a lateral, and it was, but it was not to fool Wickliffe, but a great run coming up by Dan DiAugustino. He turned a 5 or 6 yard loss into maybe getting back to the line of scrimmage.
I'll tell you what, I'm hopeful of seeing this one on a replay because I don't know if he was having trouble holding on to the ball or if he was looking to pass it. I think he may have been looking for a double pass opportunity.
I think he was getting ready because he stepped back behind Consolo. I think he was going to throw the ball downfield.
Finally corralled by Mike Novak. And a 3rd down, and we'll still call it 10. He's probably half the length of the football past the yardstick. So 3rd down and long coming up for Mayfield. Like to keep this drive alive. They stick with Giancola and Trevisano in the backfield. They run the twin receivers to the near side, Raul Leone and DiAugustino. Consolo rolls that way. The lefty fires, and it is almost picked off. Short hopped by Mike Ball.
I want to tell you what, I don't know if you'll see it on the replay or not, but Raul Leone was wide open going down the field, and they did take advantage this time of the secondary setup. It was very much underthrown on that situation, but we had a touchdown if we could have gotten the ball to him.
So Matt Waggle into punt again. And remember, they had the ball in this field position the last time. I doubt you'd see a fake 2 plays in a row, but you never know.
And a little bit more yards to go on this one as well.
That's true. Mark Lantos back deep. Good snap. Oh, almost got that one blocked, but end-over-end punt will roll inside the 30 all the way down to the 27-yard line, and that's where Wickliffe will take over again. 1st down and 10.
Blue Devils came close to making a big play on that one. They had an opportunity to block here, it looked like. Just got the punt off in time.
Good crowd on hand tonight, looking down at the stands below us, near capacity below us, people on the fence, and A good turnout by the Wickliffe faithful that traveled down the road a piece. Not that far, actually. This is kind of a down-the-street rivalry. Head down Bishop Road, and there's Wickliffe High School.
A beautiful night like this, where would you rather be?
Exactly.
Mayfield always gets good crowds. Every time we come out, they always fill the stands.
Wamser under center, fumbled the football.
Looks
and
green.
I think Mayfield's got it. They're pointing that direction. They'll have to unpile it. You never know what can happen under the pileup.
Well, you can never trust those defensive players. They always say they've got it.
I didn't catch the number, but I saw a green jersey getting there first from my angle.
And Wickliffe does recover the
It
football.
goes to show you what kind of angle I got.
Might have been Dave Joss, number 84, coming up with that fumble recovery.
Sometimes also when you get to the bottom of those piles, it's not who gets there first, but who's stronger. Who can rip the ball away from who. Not really a clean, Wamser really never got a chance to get it. I think the ball may have slipped through his hands.
Yeah, he never handled it cleanly off the snap.
John Alaric is really selling that turnover for Mayfield.
What, did you expect him to point the other way?
Second down and 10. We are under 6 minutes to go here in the first half. They pitch it to Lantos, and he really does a nice job of breaking tackles because he should have been dropped for a 3-yard loss there again.
A little bit different than what we've seen in the past when they've tried to get Lantos around the outside. This time they go with a quick pitch to the short side, trying to give him a little bit different look. And I tell you, he's a tough runner. He won't let one guy bring him down.
You know, watching this Wildcat defense, Ray Paglio told me that they like to keep it basically simple. They kind of like to read and react. They're looking pretty aggressive to me tonight. What do you guys think?
Very much so. Third down and 8, under 5.5 to go. Fred Martin in the slot on the left side. Hard count by Wamser. Across to Joss, and he's got the first down. The big, strong tight end, Dave Joss, from Chris Wamser.
You got to like the play call there. They go a little play action seam pass to the tight end. They fake the pitch and put it on the tight end. Nice throw and catch, and picks up the first down. And that's big because there's really, we're getting down to 5 minutes left in the half, and really they haven't been able to threaten, and this is going to be a big series for them in this game.
You know what I like about it is that they really haven't been able to get a lot of yardage on the ground. It's a nice, safe, short little pass to get the offense moving and to pick up some yardage at the same time.
Very difficult pass to defend as well because that tight end is coming down on your defensive end or tackle. He's coming down on your linebacker. Then all of a sudden he comes down just as hard and aggressively, and he keeps running and gets the ball. So it's a tough one to defend.
We had an official's timeout down on the field. Some equipment problems for Wickliffe. They will re-huddle. We'll start the clock back up. 4:52 and counting now.
Well, Wickliffe, excuse me, Craig, Wickliffe likes to, they're basically a 60-40 team run to pass, but I'm a little surprised that Wickliffe hasn't thrown the ball a little bit more than they have so far.
First down and 10 for the Blue Devils. They hand the ball straight up the middle. That's the big fullback, Sister Nino. And he picks up close to 9 yards. And I'll tell you what, Wamser barely got that ball out of his hands before he was tackled behind the line.
I'd have to agree with you, but when he did, Sister Nino knew what to do with it. He didn't hesitate. He went straight north and south and got about 8 tough yards.
Is that the unwritten rule of the fullback? Take it straight up the middle and just run it north to south?
Well, I tell you what, this one's pretty good at it. I've been impressed with him.
Second down and a long 2, or I should say a long 1 to go. The fullback again, Sister Nino. He is across the 50 down to the 47-yard line, and that will be another Wickliffe first down. So the Devils putting together a drive under 4 minutes to go. Still plenty of time to knock this one in the end zone.
This is an interesting look here, a little bit different than what they've shown so far if we get a chance to see it. What they did is they put their slot back in motion late, and it was just really a little window dressing for the same play they ran the play before, the straight dive to the fullback, but they gave the defense a little bit different look, a little misdirection off the motion from the slot, and it helped where they busted it up the middle again.
So a first down and 10 now, the ball on the 47-yard line of Mayfield. Wickliffe with a nice drive going so far, and this time Wamser rolls out, throws over the head of Joss and out of bounds. So a second down and 10 coming up, and Wamser found himself on his keister once again.
Now, Dave, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm trying to play coach now, but that looked like the exact same thing again, only instead of giving it to the up back, he kind of rolled out and made a pass play out of it.
It was a complementary play to what we saw the last time. They showed some misdirection play action with the motion back out of the slot, and then a little semi-roll to set up and pass. They got a little penetration, which made it difficult for him to really get set. About the time he got his feet set, he was really already in his throwing motion and didn't really get the kind of accuracy he wanted.
2nd down and 10 for the Blue Devils. Wamser goes back to throw, swings it out to Joss. He's got some blockers out in front. He's got some running room. He's got the 1st down and more inside the 35 and close to the 30-yard line. So a well-conceived screen pass with the blockers out in front and a big gainer for the Blue Devils.
This is a really nice play call in this situation. What they have here, if we can see it on the replay, is a double screen. They have an opportunity where they have a back on each side that's ready and waiting to catch a pass. They put it out to the left, and really a good-looking run after the catch.
Anthony Kapora just flattened one of the Mayfield Wildcats on that run by Joss. The ball is down to the 30-yard line, a 1st and 10 for the Devils. Still 3 minutes to go here in the first half. They're going to put it up again. Busted play. Wamser going to carry the ball close to the 25-yard line. So even on a play that didn't run the way it was supposed to, he still picked up 5.
Well, Wamser doesn't lack courage. I tell you what, he saw that the play had kind of disintegrated right between his hands, and he just took it up the middle and got all he could. Did a good job of protecting the ball, and that's something that often happens on broken plays. You don't squeeze the ball as tightly as you should, and it's a turnover. But he did a real good job there.
As I mentioned earlier, though, Wamser's a good athlete. He runs well, he throws well, and there we get an opportunity to see what he can do when the offensive play breaks down.
2nd down and 5. Ball on the 25-yard line. Straight up the middle they go to Cisternino, and maybe got a yard. Good penetration by that Mayfield Wildcat defensive line. Tony Trevisano and Dan Alfieri helping out with the tackle. So we'll give him a gain of a yard. It's a long 4 yards to go on the 3rd down play, and again, more than likely in 4-down territory. And the clock's still plenty of time left, 1:52 and counting, and Wickliffe still has their full complement of timeouts. And a fumbled snap, and Wickliffe is able to cover this one. Those are the kind of plays that drive you nuts when you've got a nice drive going and you fumble the football.
You know, and really that's so true, because this is the best-looking drive they've had all night. They have a situation where really a crucial down, 3rd down. Now this leaves them with only 1 down, and I wouldn't be surprised if they do call a timeout to figure out how they want to approach this.
And they have with a 1.5 on that play. It looked as though Wamser may have pulled out just a half-second quick on that one.
I'd have to agree with you. He had a little bit a case of happy feet there. He wanted to get the play off, and he never did receive the snap.
Wickliffe has taken their first time out because they don't want to mess up this opportunity to get the ball in the end zone, or at least push it a little farther into field goal range. It would be a 4th down and about 5 to go. There's a 1.5 to play. Plus, Mayfield gets the ball back to start the second half, so they would love to get on the board right now.
And there's plenty of time for the Blue Devils, especially when you've got a kid of Wamser's ability who's got the big strike, the quick strike capabilities.
Well, they do. They have really a couple of weapons that they can call upon. Wamser is a threat, whether he's throwing or running. And obviously we know that Lantos can advance the ball down the field in a number of different ways, whether it's as a reception or from a handoff or pitch. So, you know, one thing that you might look for in a situation such as this is some sort of option play, whether it be a keep pitch option by the quarterback or a roll where the quarterback has an opportunity to decide whether he wants to throw or run. A play that gives you a second chance if the first selection isn't there for you.
Jeff Menta being attended to on the sidelines. Seeing if his arm is all right to get back in the ball game. One of the better defensive players on this Mayfield Wildcat team. So it's 4th down and 5 away, 1.5 to go here in the first half. So big play coming up for the Blue Devils. They will try to keep this drive alive.
Dave, do you call a run on this, or maybe a quick little short pass on the flat to get the guys out by the sidelines to stop the clock?
Well, I wouldn't be so concerned about stopping the clock as getting this first down. That's what you got to have right now. Typically in a situation such as this, I would look for a play, as I mentioned just a minute ago, that would give me a second chance if my first look wasn't there. Maybe some sort of a roll, sprint out pass to the wide side, where if that pass isn't there, they've got really a great athlete in their quarterback who could get it on his own. If he doesn't see what he likes downfield, he can turn it up and run it himself.
Mayfield has now taken a timeout. They wanted to get Jeff Menta back onto the field. And a matter of fact, they got a couple new bodies coming back onto the field. John Alaric is back in.
Scott, just another word about that. I'm not familiar enough, obviously, with the Blue Devil offense to know what sort of option package they have. You can accomplish the same thing with a quarterback and pitch relations back option series. So I would, in this situation, I would be looking for a play that gave me a second chance if my first choice wasn't there.
Now the referees are blowing the whistle again.
I think it's their turn for a timeout.
Good Lord, this has been a long couple of timeouts, and
well,
mass confusion exists on the field right now.
Well, we're waiting for the biggest play of the game up to this point.
We've got Ray Paglio out on the field, and the referee's trying to figure out what's going on, and I believe they've got everything taken care of.
Well, we looked for a good competitive game. These are two good squads, no question about it.
I think both of them are well-drilled, squads. They obviously are benefiting from great coaching. Like I say, just wait and see as this game wears on. These kicking situations are really gonna make a big difference.
All right, 4th down and a short 5. We're actually going to get this play underway. Wamser rolls out, looks, has a man, and just overfires Fred Martin down at the 15-yard line. That would have been plenty much for a first down, but they'll turn the ball back over to Wickliffe with 1:25 to go. Mayfield still has 2 timeouts left, and see what Coach Paglio decides to do.
You see Wamser roll out. He's got a couple of receivers. He just overthrows his man. He had his man beat. There's really nothing wrong with that other than the throw.
Additionally, there was a good contained rush by the Cats on that play, which really prevented him. I don't know if he was instructed to take a full wide sprint out roll, but he wouldn't have been able to even if he had wanted to, because there was a good contained rush on that play.
Trevisano is the up back, Giancola the deep back in the I formation behind Joe Consolo. And they give it to Giancola, breaking some tackles, and he is
gone.
Working away down the sideline.
If he can get that block.
Giancola to the 10, to the 5, touchdown Mayfield.
Well, that's nothing new for Giancola. He only did that 4 times last week. All of, I believe it was 75 yards.
75-yard run by Chris Giancola. What a beautiful run.
Oh, that time I forgot about it. There's the replay. He gets a good block downfield, but he's got good speed as well. Just breaks the tackle.
I tell you, that shows what I know. I was really looking for them maybe to try and threaten deep with a deep pass, but they know what they're doing. They give the ball. Here we go. The swinging gate fake, just as we were talking about earlier.
And a flag will fly. So we will see what the problem was. Maybe everybody wasn't set for Wickliffe.
Both in this fake out of the swinging gate and on the last play for the long touchdown, they give the ball to their best running back and let him see what he can do with a little over a minute to play and a half. What a really outstanding run.
Well, you know, Dave, you thought that they might go to the air a little bit on that.
We have an illegal procedure. Back was not set for a second. 5-yard penalty.
Well, I tell you what, these officials are really letting us know they know the rules very well, aren't they?
Just to finish my thought there, you had said that you thought maybe the Wildcats would go to the air. They had beat me to it, because I was going to say that Ray Paglio likes his team to keep the ball on the ground. They like to keep it basic and simple, and I think that they'd be fairly satisfied to be up 6-0, run the ball, eat up the rest of the clock, and take it into halftime up 6-0. Turned out that way. I just don't think that he really had planned 75 yards in the first play.
Well, I tell you what, I wouldn't second guess Coach Paglio, because he did the right thing. He put the ball in the hands of his best running back, and he took it from there. Boy, what an exciting play that one was.
And Giancola was stopped at the line of scrimmage, but he's the kind of guy that is not just going to fall down. You have to wrap this guy up because he's going to keep the legs churning, and he did so 75 yards worth.
We saw that a lot of that out of the backs last week. You get a lot of the running backs have to remember to keep the legs churning, because just because you get a hit or you get grabbed doesn't mean that you can't grab a couple extra yardage out of it.
Mayfield has taken time out to figure out what to do here on their extra point. And Joe Consolo is back in the ball game, so they're going to go for the 2-point conversion, try to put themselves up 14-0. 1:09 still remains here in the first half. Consolo going to roll out. The lefty fires underneath, and it's almost picked off. So the extra point is no good with 1:09 to go here in the first half. It is Mayfield 12 and Wickliffe nothing. So Mayfield very pleased to be up 12-0, and Wickliffe's got to be wondering what happened, because they turned around, figured they would get out of this thing down 6-0, and as difficult as their play had been offensively with some turnovers and some bad mistakes, not bad at 6-zip, but now it's 12-0. You need 2 scores to get back in this thing.
Well, with the fact that the Cats haven't been able to convert after either touchdown, it does leave the door open in case, if they can score twice, they can not only tie it up but take the lead. But that's very slight encouragement for them at this point, when they were well into Blue Devil territory, or I should say well into Wildcat territory, and unable to convert on that 4th and 5, and then to give up a touchdown on a big run. Boy, I tell you, that can really sap some confidence. So it's going to be interesting to see how they attack back in this last minute, if they try and get the ball downfield through the air.
Tony Trevisano in to tee the football up to kick off, and Wickliffe has moved their deep men all the way up to the 20-yard line, anticipating that squib type kick.
I tell you what, they've left the wide side of the field open with their front men as well.
So here we go. Trevisano kicks it in the direction of Fred Martin, who takes it at the 15. He's close to the 30-yard line before he's turned around and punished. Actually got back to about the 28-yard line, and that's tough when you get stood up like that, and then the defense doesn't let up and they drop you to the deck.
Well, Fred never really did get uncorked. You young men who are watching this ball game right now, if you're going to get an opportunity to return a kick, you got to kick it into high gear when you get that ball. You can't stand and watch and wait for the coverage to develop in front of you. You got to take it full speed and read on the run.
Jim Mormino, the man on the tackle. The clock is running now, under a minute to go here in the first half. Wamser brings the troops up, and I'm sure they'll be satisfied going in down 12-0. They don't want to make any mistakes, and of course they're going to throw the football.
You can't be satisfied being down by 12.
And the pass to Joss is out of bounds.
Well, I thought we might have gotten an interference call there on number 2 for the Wildcats. Victor Ngagaglia. Sorry about that, Victor, and my apologies to your family as well. But I tell you what, I think he got a little bump before the ball got there.
The one thing you have to keep in mind about high school ball as well is there's no such thing as a catchable pass. If the ball is 40 feet over your head and you are bumped, it's pass interference. So it's a 2nd down and 10, 44 seconds to go and counting. Wamser hoping to get something going here. Maybe get somebody in the flat, get some open blocking downfield. He's going to go back to pass, straight drop back across the middle. He finds Joss, going to try to get out of bounds and doesn't do it. He's shy of the 40-yard line, down to the 39. That is a first down, though, so the clock will stop as they move the chains.
They're going to go without a huddle, so we probably won't have a chance to see that last play. But with the 2 deep pass protection there, they brought the tight end up and tried to get him beyond the underneath coverage. It was a nice call. I'd like to see him take that tight end straight up the middle between those 2 defenders and put him in a bind.
30 seconds, the clock is running. Wamser to throw again. Looking downfield, tries to lob it into Joss, who catches the ball, and that is a completion down to the 42-yard line.
I think he bobbled it on the way out.
Well, I'm going to disagree with you on that one, Scott. I think he made a great catch. He dragged both feet. Let's take a look at it. I don't know. I'm going to call that a catch.
And he only has to get 1 foot in bounds, so he was easily able to do that. Now the ball's
There's
at the
another
40.
look at it. I'm sorry, Craig.
The ball's at the 42-yard
Watch
line.
him juggle halfway down. Boom. I think he juggled. I don't think he had complete possession of it. But they're going to give it to him, and that's all that counts. First down.
First down and 10 on the Mayfield 42-yard line. Wamser to throw, rolling out. He's got running room if he decides to take it, and he will inside the 40, 35, and skates out of bounds at about the 32-yard line. 13 seconds remain, and the clock has stopped.
Well, I don't know if they're going to come out of this possession with only 13 seconds left with a score or not, Craig and Scott, but I'll tell you what, they've got to be building a little bit of confidence. Both times they've had the ball, they've driven very, very well. Now they've got to learn in the second half the things they have to do to put the finishing touches on a drive.
This is the offense that I anticipated seeing the Blue Devils show us when this game got started. I think they went to the run a little more than I anticipated. And again, if anybody had seen the Blue Devils play last year, they know that Wickliffe and Wamser like to go to the air. So we may see a little bit more of that in the second half.
So there's 13 seconds to remain here in the first half. Craig Dees along with Scott Cirilla and Cleveland Thunderbolt coach Dave Winham. We are here from Mayfield High School, bringing you this one, a beautiful night for football. And the field has held up pretty well considering it was pretty soft earlier, but as we said, the sod is real thick down below and has not been a problem on the field thus far.
Look at that.
We hear from the truck that's part of the reason for the technical problems we're having.
The wetness.
Is it the wetness or the full moon that's giving us trouble?
I believe it's the full moon.
Boy, what a beautiful night.
So a first down and 10. The ball is on the 27-yard line. Wickliffe, I believe, has 1 timeout left. Wamser goes back to throw. Fires to Joss, in and out of his hands. On the coverage, back was Victor Angolia.
Well, as tight as the coverage was on that play, he was really going to have to throw the perfect ball to get it caught. And, you know, he darn near did. But what happened that was different on this play than at that crucial 4th and 5 play is that he was able to break contain. And really, he could have gotten some yardage off of a run in that situation, too. With the seconds ticking off, perhaps he was a little afraid to do that. So we're looking at only 6 seconds left now.
But give Angolia great credit because he put a big hit on Josh just as the ball came in. Couldn't have done it any better.
Angolia only goes 150 pounds, too, so when you're belting a tight end of Joss's size, packing a wallop, Wickliffe has taken their last time out of the half. I tell you what, the last minute and a half of this half's been about 20 minutes.
But I tell you what, it's been exciting football. Yeah. A lot of big plays, 2 great drives by the Blue Devils, and then a big scoring run answered by the Wildcats. So I tell you what, we've had a really heck of a first half.
Chris Giancola has checked into the defense for Mayfield. And right now you almost have to go to the end zone or just shy and hope for a catch and run.
Well, I don't know if this is within their field goal range, so
no, not at all.
I would say you better just take a shot at the end zone. Maybe a crossing route just in front of the deep men and, you know, seeing if you can get something done.
They stay with the tight formation. 6 seconds to go. Wamser throws. He has Joss underneath. He'll only get down to the 24-yard line before he is upended, and that will do it. We've come to the end of the first half. Tonight's game is brought to you with the support of Geppetto's Pizza and Ribs for the first place and taste on Mayfield Road in South Euclid. Then you can walk across the street to Warehouse Beverage. Stop in, see Al, Mike, and Paul for all your beverage needs. Tonight's game is also presented by Minota's Trophies and Awards at 1475 Green Road at Mayfield, and by Cleveland Sport Goods. Stop in at their new expanded location at 4452 Mayfield Road at Green. Check out their selection of school and varsity jackets. The first half is history. We'll come back. We will have the halftime stats, and we'll do all that after you watch this. The score at halftime, Mayfield 12, Wickliffe nothing.
After dating the guy forever, you think I could tell him anything. Why is it so hard? I'm really scared.
Takes a lot of guts to tell someone he's too drunk to drive. But you can do it. Just say it. Because if you don't, there may be nothing left to say.
Kevin, I'm gonna drive.
Take the keys, call a cab, take a stand. Friends don't let friends drive drunk.
12-0 is the score here at halftime. The Mayfield Wildcats out ahead of the Wickliffe Blue Devils. And before we get into second half action, let's take a look at the statistics. And if you just saw the stats and you didn't see the score, you might be a little surprised. These stats, of course, brought to you by Warehouse Beverage and Geppetto's Pizza and Ribs.
Well, as you mentioned, Craig, there's really not much more I can say about it. The one that really sticks out really is the first downs. With Wickliffe being able to move the ball, you'd think that they would have some points. They don't have any, but Mayfield has had a couple of big strikes. The turnovers really nothing there. Total yardage, I've got a couple of individuals. Chris Giancola's got about 101 yards
Thanks to
ground,
that 75-yard run. That
which
made
doesn't
it very
hurt.
good.
And Dave Jost has 5 receptions for 65 yards for the Blue Devils. But as you mentioned, relatively even and quite... what's the word I'm looking for?
It's a well-balanced game. It's two pretty evenly matched teams. You know, the total yards are just about a draw, 168 for Wickliffe to 140 for Mayfield. But first downs, sure, Wickliffe had more first downs, but that key 4th and 5 play where they weren't able to take it in, and then they ran out of time there in the first half on their other long drive.
I'll tell you, the stat that's not up here is the total number of plays. Mayfield runs 15, Wickliffe runs 32. And you never would have thought. It seemed like Mayfield had the ball the whole first half.
Yeah, that's right.
And then you look down at the plays, and it was just so much of a discrepancy there. And Wickliffe has to kick off to start the second half, of all things.
I liked what Wickliffe was doing at the end of the second quarter, though. It may have had to do with the fact that they were under some pretty good time constraints with about 2.5 minutes to move the ball. But I think that things could be different here if they go back to that and try and go to the air a little bit more, maybe open that offense up and get some points on the board.
Well, at 7 for 12 in their passes, they've got to be encouraged with their ability to move the ball through the air this early in the season. I think they've got a quarterback that is a real threat, both through the air and in that sprint out. If things don't work for him, he can turn it up and run. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see him maybe take the ball, on foot around the corner once or twice this half.
Dave, do you look for the Wildcats to possibly not so much change their offense in the sense of going from running to passing, but maybe try and change the way they move the football?
Well, I don't look for much in the way of change from either team. I think both teams have displayed a good mix of run and pass. They've, although the Wildcats haven't passed as often, they've used the pass in some very key situations and made some big plays. I think that that Wickliffe has to keep doing what they're doing, and they've got to get down in there and capitalize when they get inside Wildcat territory. That's been the big difference. Once they ran out of time right at the end of the half, and the other time they couldn't convert on a 4th and 5.
Recapping the scoring real quick, with about 56 seconds left in the first quarter, Joe Consolo hit Jeff Mensah for a 16-yard pass. The point after was no good. It was 6-0 with 1:09 remaining in the second quarter. Chris Giancola took it 75 yards down the right sideline. The 2-point conversion was no good, and we have a 12-0 score at halftime.
Dave Jaws set to kick off for Wickliffe back deep. Chris Giancola and Victor Ngolia. And we are ready to start second half action. The Blue Devils of Wickliffe to kick off. And we are underway. They kick it to the far side to Ngolia, who picks it up at about the 15, and he's across the 25 and to the 30, maybe the 31-yard line. So good second effort there, and the Wildcats will take the field. Quarterback Joe Consolo will bring the troops out. He will have Tony Trevisano and Chris Giancola in the backfield. And only 15 plays for the Wildcats in the first half, but they made the most of them. They lead it right now 12-0. We are just underway. Craig Dees, along with Scott Zarilla and Dave Winham, who is the head football coach for the Cleveland Thunderbolts arena football team that had a very successful inaugural season up here and drew a lot of fans, which is very good, very encouraging for a first-year team.
Well, I tell you, we were very fortunate to average over 12,000 fans at the Coliseum, and we're looking forward to great things here.
First down and 10. They give it to the deep back, Giancola. He is hit and wrapped up, and he will lose a couple of yards. He was hit head on by number 62, Mark Pawalski, the inside linebacker, and he will lose about a yard on the play, so second down and 11 coming up.
Not a typical run for Giancola. I don't think you're going to stop him for no gain or a loss very often, but it looked like he had a little bit trouble getting started. His lead back, and he didn't have much of a relationship. He was right on his heels and couldn't really get a good read on his area of attack.
Dan D'Agostino goes to the top of your screen. And George Phillips comes to the near side. Consolo to throw, fires it underneath, and has a man. That's D'Agostino breaking some tackles, and he is close to the 40-yard line, and that's close to a first down. We'll have to wait to see where they spot the football. So a nice play on 2nd and 11.
Scott, if we get a chance to see this again, take a look at really a great effort after the catch. He took it inside at full speed, never hesitated, and that was a nice gain after the catch.
Well, that's one thing really that the Greater Cleveland Conference and that we get a chance to see a lot of. There never seems to be a shortage of good backs, good skill positions, always a good handful of quarterbacks throughout the conference.
So a second down and, or check that, a third down and 1 await the Wildcats. Consolo trying to straighten things out in the backfield. Giancola again with the first down and more. He reaches close to the 45-yard line before he is brought down. That's a first down.
That's a lot more like the Giancola we saw in the first half, getting really a good hard speed rush through the area of attack and not hesitating like he did on the first run in the second half.
I think that was a big first down for the Wildcats because, again, they had done so well in the first half, but Wickliffe was able to move the ball well at the end of the quarter, and I think Mayfield wants to really move the ball, chew up some clock, obviously come away with some points, but at the same time keep it away from Wickliffe because, as I said, they moved the ball well at the end of that second quarter.
So a first down and 10. Ball is on the 44-yard line. They go straight up the middle for a gain of a yard or so. I think Trevisano's out of the game. I'm trying to find out who the fullback is. And that is Jeff Menta, number 22, who is now playing the fullback position. So gain of only about a yard or so.
That's a young man who banged up his arm in the first half, I believe.
Trevisano is standing on the sideline right next to Coach Paglio, so obviously not hurt, just a change of personnel. Second down and 8. Consolo, a little pop pass over the middle, nobody there. That is incomplete, and a third down and long coming up.
That's that play action seam pass off the fullback dive look, and this time the linebacker had it jumped and there was really nowhere to go, and he just overthrew it into a safe place.
Raul Leone runs in the play for Mayfield.
Wrestling fans will recognize that name. One of the better wrestlers for the Wildcats last season. I'm sure he'll come back and have another top-notch season this year as well.
And fans may remember from last year playing for the Richmond Heights Spartans that has since moved residence to Mayfield and is now making Ray Paglio a very happy man. Consolo rolls out, looks downfield, has Leone. He's got the ball at the 30, and he is gone. 10-5, touchdown Mayfield.
Well, we mentioned earlier that in that wide twin set that they had an opportunity to get outside, and they brought their inside twin out to the outside. You'll see it here, and he breaks clean. Take a look at it. Nice looking throw and catch. Good hookup.
And believe it or not, sometimes those wide open passes and catches are the hardest ones to get. And here comes that
blasted cannon again.
I'm just trying to make sure that we're all helping each other be prepared for this.
They will go for the two-point conversion. Trevisano is back in the backfield as the fullback. Giancola is the deep back in the I formation. That's where they pitch it. A pitch and pass. Has a man open in the end zone. Did he get in?
I believe
yes, he did. Tom Agresta was the recipient of that pass. And once again, Jim Mormino doing the job as the holder. That's the second time that Mormino's been able to toss a pass. The first time on the fake
Well, I tell you, he's 100%. I tell you, Coach Paglio may regret having shown that with as big a lead as they're getting right now. See, guys, I'm from Detroit. I'm used to big shots going off all the time. It doesn't startle me that much.
The thing that's scaring me is he's starting to point it in our direction. And he's not even listening to the ball game.
Oh, I tell you, tough crowd.
I think as many times as he shot that off over the years, I don't think he hears it anymore.
So with 8:41 to go, Mayfield has blown this one open 20-0, and just an outstanding performance so far by the Wildcats, and it has been the big play that has cost the Blue Devils dearly here tonight.
I'll tell you, if indeed it's Ray Paglio in the coach's corner at the end, I'm going to want to ask him, because when we talked earlier in the week, he stressed that he likes to run a basic offense. Well, we saw that the fake punt, we saw the attempted pass to the wide receiver that was going to go downfield, and a couple different plays here. So
Fred Martin on the return, and a dandy it is across the 50 and down to the 48-yard line of Mayfield.
Well, let me tell you what happened on that one. The contain man here on the near side of the screen, as you look at it again, really lost his contain. He came in a little bit to the inside, a little too aggressively, and he was able to get outside him and pick up big yards.
So Chris Wamser brings the troops back out, and he is down 20-0 right now, and we have 8.5 minutes to go here in the third quarter, so still plenty of time. What they've got to do is get some sort of drive and come away with this with some points this time down the field.
You're right, Craig. There's plenty of time, but also they've been able to move the ball well, and they've got great field position right now, so they're far from out of this game.
Lantos and Sister Nino remain in the backfield. They run Fred Martin to the top of your screen. And they run Lantos around the right side. He cuts back nicely and picks up big yardage across the 40 down to about the 36-yard line, and that'll be a first down for the Blue Devils.
They brought him across in motion from the slot position and got him outside. Big block from Mike Novak, number 58, to get him down the field.
So a first down and 10 for the Blue Devils, doing exactly what they wanted to do to begin this third quarter.
And if you remember correctly, the Blue Devils started out the game this way, moving the ball fairly well. Unfortunately, weren't able to sustain it, and they haven't really gotten anything going since then.
First down and 10 now for the Blue Devils. Wamser goes back to throw, steps up, fires across the middle, and has a man all the way down to the 12-yard line. I believe that was Fred Martin, number 21, and he got hammered.
Well, Wickliffe was trying to take advantage of that too-deep coverage. You'll see it here. They sprint a receiver right down the middle. Nice pass, and the two deep backs break back to the ball real well to stop it from being a touchdown. But I think that's real good strategy, attacking that too deep right up the middle like that.
And that's vintage Chris Wamser dropping back, setting his feet with a lot of poise and a good strong pass.
That was Mark Lantos on the reception that time, and a dandy it was. Wamser going to roll out to the right. He's going to keep it this time. Trying to get into the end zone. Flags fly as he is shoved out of bounds at about the 6-yard line. But a flag goes down in the area of holding.
Craig and Scott, this is just what we talked about before we started the second half. How Wamser is really doing a nice job through the air, but also having opportunities when he gets that sprint out to take the ball up the field himself. This time he gave it a shot, and it looks like a penalty is going to bring it back.
Mike Novak, I think, is the man called for the holding penalty, and he was not real happy about it. As you could see him chewing on the official's ear. Here's the call.
Holding the offense, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Well, you know, Scott mentioned just a few minutes ago how the Blue Devils were able to move the ball very well at the outset of the game, and if you remember, it was penalties then that stalled that first drive.
Right.
So let's see if they're going to be able to overcome the adversity of penalties here in the second half, because you look at it, guys, they've got great field position. They're down by 20, but there's a lot of time, and they could get back in this game with a score here.
But that's a really bad time for that to show up, especially since they got down to about the 10-yard line, have been moving the ball so well, and now to get knocked back 10 yards, that's just a real inopportune time to get that penalty.
A first down and close to 21 yards to go. They can get a first down inside the 5, almost at the 2-yard line. And they run it straight up the gut, and not a whole lot there, maybe a yard or so, stood up by Neil Freight at the line of scrimmage, among others.
I don't want to say that this would be devastating for the Wildcats to, why do I keep saying the Wildcats, for the Blue Devils to not come away with any points, but I think it would be pretty disheartening since they've moved it so well. And again, when you're down 20-0, you can't wait all night to put points on the board.
Well, I wouldn't count them out yet. Look at the tight coverage we've got on number 20 right here. That's a mismatch.
And no huddle by Wickliffe across the middle, and it is popped. Jeff Menta laid the big hit on the tight end, Dave Joss. Wickliffe went without a huddle there, trying to make sure that Mayfield kept their same people on the field. And that'll bring up a 3rd down and 19.
Watch 22, Jeff Menta with the big hit. Ray Paglio mentioned his name throughout the course of the week. He's one of the better inside linebackers in the conference. Not that big of a guy, but he can sure lay on the licks as he just did to Dave Joss.
And Menta had a bum ankle this summer, and he is trying to recover from that, and he looks pretty recovered to me. 3rd down and 19. They hand the ball this time around the end. Good yardage for Scott Robinson.
Well, I'm sure on the previous play there, the coach Chinchar saw that number 5, I didn't catch his name, I'm sorry, Scotty Robinson. Was free and clear on the dive play where they sent him as a decoy. So they gave it to him and picked up a good gain. Now they're looking at about 4th and 9.
I noticed that the first time, the exact play you're talking about, and to be quite frank with you, I thought he had the ball. That goes to show you what a great fake that Wamser put on.
Well, I think they were hoping that the Wildcat defense thought he had it too, but it didn't work out that way on the play before.
4th down and 9. The ball is at the 11-yard line. Wickliffe will try to pick up at least the 1st down, if not a score here. And they're going to try to do it through the air as Wamser takes a deep drop, swings it out to Joss on the sideline, and he will be bumped out of bounds, and nothing doing, and Mayfield is held once again. The defense continues to rise to the occasion on the big play, and Wickliffe continues to be stopped.
That's great coverage by the Wildcats secondary, because you saw Wamser was looking downfield initially, had nowhere to throw, waited as long as he could, and just kind of dumped it off in the flat at the last second. Unfortunately, not enough for the 1st down.
So Mayfield will take back over, 1st down and 10, and they'll get the ball at the 12-yard line. Imperative for Wickliffe that they stop him 3 and out here. Any sustained drive at all is going to eat up too much of the clock. We're already down to 5:50 to go in the 3rd quarter.
Yeah, it's really going to be important for him. But I tell you, guys, you have to be impressed with the Wildcat defense and the way they flew to the ball on a sideline pass like that.
I'm impressed with... Go right ahead.
Leone out far to the left. D'Agostino to the near side. They run the ball over the left side, and that is Giancola. And a flag comes flying from the umpire, and we'll see what happened there.
Let me tell you, there's some hitting going on down there. Wickliffe isn't even close to ready to call this one a game. They're getting after it. They realize how important this defensive stand is for them.
I think it's easy to see how Giancola had 188 yards and 4 touchdowns last week. The way he really takes on tacklers head on, and as we mentioned last week,
It's the offense.
he's one of those backs that really keeps his legs moving.
So clipping against the offense, and that's going to be a biggie. Wickliffe deciding what they want to do. The gain was only for a yard, but I'm sure they'll still take the penalty, give them back the down, and put them very deep in their own territory.
This could work out well for the Blue Devils. If they can hold here, get a punt from Mayfield, they'll probably get pretty good field position.
Matt Dagovics guilty of a clip on the last play, and Wickliffe still kicking around what they want to do down there. Would you take this penalty?
Well, the thing that I think they're trying to decide, the ball I think is spotted just inside the 15. So I think they were trying to ascertain, yeah, and it is. It's going to be a half the distance. So I think that they were trying to decide what would they rather do, go 2nd down and 9 or 1st and about 16. They decided to go ahead and take the yardage, and I think that's a good idea. Certainly the seconds are ticking off, but there's still over 5 minutes left in the 3rd. They've got plenty of time, and field position's more important.
So it is a 1st down and 16 for Mayfield. Menta is the up back in the eye, Giancola the deep back. Craig Barna into the game as one of the wideouts, and they pitch it to Giancola coming to the near side. Big hole across the 15 to the 20. to the 30. Got a couple of men to beat across the 40. Tries to spin around and is down at the 48-yard line. Huge play again by Chris Giancola. Martin Novak on the stop, and that was a touchdown-saving tackle.
And if we see it again on the replay, just like before, watch number 25, Craig Barna, with the great block right here. Excellent block, took out 2 or 3 Blue Devils. Opens up Giancola again. Craig Barna's doing an outstanding job of doing downfield blocking.
Jeff Menta, the fullback, also with a nice kick-out block to get him the initial hole.
I tell you what, Menta, when he came around the corner there on his block, he really decleated his defender. That was a heck of a block.
The ball is on the 49-yard line of Mayfield, so much for being in the shadow of your own end zone.
I like that, decleated. I take it that's a nasty hit.
They fake the pitch and they hand it up the middle to Menta. He's across midfield and down close to the 45-yard line of Wickliffe. So these down the street rivals really doing some pad popping down there, but so far Mayfield has the best of it. They're really looking impressive tonight.
You know, I was just going to say, Craig, this may be a little premature as we watch the replay, but if the Wildcats can continue to play this way and for the most part be error-free, I think they're going to give a lot of teams in the Greater Cleveland Conference some trouble. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to win the conference and knock off the Menors and Euclids, but I really believe if they can continue to control the ball on the ground the way they have and stay error-free, play good, solid defense, I think they're going to really do well in the conference this year.
Dan D'Agostino getting his calf examined, probably a cramp. Again, when it gets cool like this that fast, muscles have a tendency to tighten up. Twins to the top of your screen. And they run the ball to Giancola. And look at this guy just keep pushing. He's 4 or 5 guys to bring him down. He is not going down easy, and you love to see that from your tailback.
He's got great leg drive for not a very big guy. He really gets after him. Just a junior, but I tell you what, he plays a lot bigger than the 5'10", 180 that he is.
You know, something else I just noticed on that run, he keeps his shoulders squared north and south like you want your running backs to do. He did a nice job of really keeping focus downfield, driving forward, not a lot of dancing back and forth once he got through the hole.
So a first down and 10 for the Wildcats. More importantly, chewing up plenty of clock here in the third quarter, down to 3:35 and counting. The ball just inside the Wickliffe 40-yard line. Tony Trevisano back in the backfield as the fullback. Whistles fly before that ball was snapped, and we'll have a procedure call against Mayfield.
We had a little movement up front.
So that'll be 5 yards. Penalty yardage for Wickliffe in the first half was not bad. I think they were only penalized for Mayfield one time for 5 yards.
Right.
Which shows a lot of concentration.
Well, that's a bonus. We saw, you know, what the penalties early in the first quarter did to the Blue Devils, and it really stalled their drive, and Wildcats have been able to avoid those problems by and large.
First down and 15 for the Cats. And Solo back to throw, being chased, got it off, kind of a dying quail, and Leone just knocks it down. He would have lost another 3 or 4 yards if he would have caught that ball, and Consolo doing well just to avoid the rush.
Well, I tell you, though, that's a scary pass when you let the ball go like that, when a guy's really got you under control, you don't have your feet under you, and you're just relying on the strength of your arm and someone else moving your body to get a ball where you want it to go. That one could have easily gone the other way.
Dangerous pass out on the flat, absolutely.
Second down and 15. Clock is stopped, 3:14 to go. Craig Dees along with Scott Zarilla and Dave Winham, who is the head coach of the Cleveland Thunderbolts. He'll be joining us a couple of times this year. If you're watching this game on the west side, he'll be joining Kenny out on the west side as well. If you're watching a game in Brunswick, he'll be down. He's going to be everywhere.
I'm having a lot of fun doing it.
The analyst of the week.
Here's that wide twin set again.
And Solo throws, good strong throw, and it's over the head of Matt Woggle.
Well, that's something you have to do, guys, when a defense shows that they're going to give you something. They've exposed a weakness, whether it be personnel or whether it be in their scheme. You've got to keep, you know, testing them with it until they prove to you they're going to take it away. And that time they did a good job of covering it.
So third down and 15 coming up. Wickliffe may hold on this possession, but a lot of time has been chewed up, and now the clock is definitely against them. So they've got to hold on this third down, and Mayfield time and time again has come up with the big play. We'll see what is in the offensive playbook this series. Trevisano, number 44, and Giancola, number 30, in the backfield.
Look out.
Solo to throw. Runs the delay to Giancola inside the 40. Great move inside the 35 down to the 33-yard line. That'll be about 3 yards shy of a first down, but that is another one for the highlight film.
I tell you, that's a good-looking play. They run a draw out of a rollout look. Not a play that you're going to see very often. They pick up a good gain, and I tell you what, if he could have kept his feet a little bit earlier when he got slowed up there, he might still be running.
I don't think he had his head up the whole time after getting bumped at the line of scrimmage and just trying to keep his feet.
He did a nice job keeping his balance.
And he still got, what, about 8 yards out of that?
Mark Lantos, the man who came up to make the stop. It is 4th down and 4.
This is a big play for the Blue Devils.
He got 11 yards on that carry, actually.
They run the option, and Consolo is dragged down from behind. Mike Novak, number 58, was able to track the quarterback down, and the ball will be turned over to Wickliffe.
Well, we're hearing quite a bit of Mike Novak's name. He's making big plays on both sides of the ball. And that was a play they had to have if they want to have any hope of pulling this game out with only 2:10 left in the third quarter. Scott, I want to make sure if, in fact, Mayfield's able to be victorious tonight, that you get a little bit of explanation about this conservative offense by Coach Ray Paglio.
Believe me, I thought of that in the first quarter on that fake punt.
I'm gonna call and get a little chalk talk here sometime this week.
The offense has been conservative. It's the special teams that have been out of control.
Well, I don't know. That rollout draw was a pretty nice play.
The ball is on the 36-yard line, and Wickliffe going to keep the ball on the ground and pick up just a couple of yards. That was Mark Lantos, the junior. Only about 2 yards, so 2nd down and 8 coming up, and Wickliffe once again goes without the huddle.
You know what else is really impressive? I'll let you get this play off, Greg.
2nd down and 8. Wamser to throw, being chased and being sacked, and sacked very hard by Neo Freight. Came in like a freight train and put Wamser on his back, and Wamser is down at the 25-yard line, and timeout will be called, and hopefully it's nothing but the wind knocked out of him.
He does not look good.
Might have got that shoulder caught underneath him when he got squashed by Freight. Freight goes about 195 pounds.
He didn't look like he was moving from the waist down, and I'm not going to imply anything other than maybe just banging a knee, or maybe having something happen to his knee.
Yeah, you hate to speculate, but
I just think I believe it was an injury from the waist down, actually. And remember that the surface is very wet.
Oh, he got his body bent over his knee when his foot was planted there.
The medical staff of Wickliffe out on the field right now to take a look at Chris Wamser. This is terrible news for Wamser alone, but for the Blue Devils.
Right. This could be a major loss if it's anything serious, and more than a week or so. Definitely the straw that stirs the drink for the Blue Devils.
When play resumes, the ball is all the way back to the 25-yard line, so it'll be 3rd and a country mile to go for the Devils, but more importantly, Chris Wamser down on the field, and the doctors are now headed out to the center of the playing field.
Guys, what I was going to mention before that play is what really makes what the Wildcat defense is doing impressive is the fact that, talking to Ray Paglio earlier, he's not real happy. I mean, for what it can be, the size, he's not real pleased with the fact that their defense isn't really that big. They have a young and somewhat inexperienced secondary, and there's not a lot of depth. And for what they've been able to come out and do with their quote-unquote lack of size has been pretty impressive.
Well, we've got a pause in the action. We'll tell you that tonight's game is brought to you with the support of Geppetto's Pizza and Ribs for the first place in taste on Mayfield Road in South Euclid. Then you walk across the street to Warehouse Beverage. Stop in, see Al, Mike, and Paul. for all your beverage needs. Tonight's game also presented by Minota's Trophies and Awards at 1475 Green Road at Mayfield. They will award tonight's Minota's Trophy Players of the Game, and that's Dave's job tonight to pick the. It's always the hardest part of the evening. Doing everything else is easy until we have to pick one guy from each side, but we'll be more than happy to hand out those trophies at the end of tonight's ball game. The game also brought to you by Cleveland Sport Goods. Stop in and see their new expanded location at 4452 Mayfield Road at Green, and check out their selection of school and varsity jackets. So that's the people that bring it to you each and every week. And we've also got Dave Winham on loan from the Cleveland Thunderbolts Arena Football as Chris Wamser is being helped off the field. And Scott, I think you hit the nail right on the head. I think it is a lower extremity injury, a knee or an ankle, because he cannot put any weight at all on that left leg.
Well, I tell you what, we were talking about MVPs of the game, and here's a potential MVP, I think, anytime he plays. The guy shows a lot of ability and a lot of heart, and the Blue Devils are going to miss him, that's for sure. Let's hope it's not serious, and if we don't see him back tonight, that we do by next weekend.
So Mark Jappel will take over the controls for Wickliffe. Jappel only a sophomore. He's listed in the roster as a quarterback defensive end. Now that's something you would see in arena football maybe, right? So he will go under center.
Let's watch for the exchange there. He gets the snap cleanly.
They hand the ball to Lantos. He picks up some good yardage, but well shy of a first down in a punting situation once again for the Blue Devils. And even though you're down 20-0 and there's 35 seconds to go in the quarter, you have to punt the ball in this situation.
Oh, there's no question. You can't give him this kind of field position. And particularly, you got a new quarterback, and things aren't really going your way. Your field general's just gone down on you. Just the center quarterback exchange can be an adventure in times like this. So, you know, you got to punt it away and get back to work.
Vic Angolia back deep for Mayfield. He will receive the punt of Mitch Fink. And it's a good snap.
Oh, just missed it.
And a dandy punt. Angolia going to let it bounce, and he is going to try to pick it up, and that was dangerous. Very lucky to hang on to that football back at the 22-yard line. And we have come to the end of the third quarter. Mayfield is on top by a score of 20-0. We'll be back. We'll have fourth and final quarter action after you watch this. We begin quarter number 4 here from Mayfield High School, and the Wildcats having a wild time tonight. They are up 20-0 over Wickliffe, and I think everybody that came to the game tonight really expected this one to be a lot closer, but Mayfield has really done an excellent job on both sides of the football, and right now are dominating the Blue Devils, and things do not look good for the Devils right now as quarterback Chris Wamser has left the field with what appears to be a knee problem, and we find out anything by the end of the evening, we'll let you know. If not, we hope Chris comes along well and gets himself back in action before too long, because that would really be a severe blow to the Blue Devils. First down and 10 for the Wildcats. The ball is spotted, it looks like the 21-yard line. So Joe Consolo once again will bring the troops up. Tony Trevisano back in at fullback, number 44. Chris Giancola is the tailback. And they hand it to the fullback, Trevisano, breaking tackles across the 30, down to the 32-yard line. There's a first down for the Wildcats, and that offensive line just blew a huge hole open for Tony Trevisano.
Well, you know, if someone was just joining us right now and they see that the score is 20-0, you wouldn't be aware of really what a good football game we've been looking at tonight. The Blue Devils really, in many instances, have done a great job moving the ball. They just, because of penalties, because the clock was against them at the end of the half, haven't been able to hit pay dirt.
Mike Novak on the last tackle. We also have Mark Novak, twin brothers, seniors this year, and having my 2-year-old twins at home, it's nice to know that you can survive this and get them through high school. Right up the middle, they go to Giancola, and a nice run close to the 40-yard line. So Mayfield picking up big chunks of yardage on first down, and that really makes the play calling a little bit easier when it's second down and 3 or 4.
And it's really disheartening to a defense who feels the game slipping away from them. You know, you give up a big gain on a pass, that's one thing, you can regroup. But when a team starts ripping 5, 10, 8 yards at a crack on the running game, that can really start to sap your confidence. Additionally, you know, you got to look at confidence on the side of Mayfield. Since they've started this series up again, after about a 20-year layoff of these two teams playing, Mayfield hasn't beaten Wickliffe. And so this is going to really go a long way to help them getting into their conference season.
And even better, again, we talked about the close proximity of these two cities, Mayfield and Wickliffe, just down the road a piece. So kind of a down-the-street rivalry, which is even, those are the fun ones when you meet at the McDonald's in between after the game and you've got bragging rights.
That's right.
For another year.
You see Tony Trevisano down on the side having a little trouble with one of his legs as well.
Yeah, the calf muscles tighten up on a night like tonight. And that's why we have seen Jeff Menta numerous times here in the second half. Giancola again. He has broken it again, coming to the near side, breaks another tackle, looking to find some place to go across the 50. Look at this guy, down to the 45-yard line. I tell you what, we've been doing this for 10 years, my 6th year, and he runs as well as anybody I've seen, and we have seen some dandies.
Well, coming into this fourth quarter, Giancola had 163 yards on only 11 rushes. He's added probably another 15 to 20 already in the fourth quarter. So he's looking at a potentially 200-yard night on the ground, and that's great at any level.
Before we get much farther, you know, we've talked about how well these kids are running the ball, and they are. But also on that play especially, number 57, Matt Dogovics, and number 56, Mark Samic, in addition to the other linemen. I mean, let's not forget that these kids are opening up big holes, and it's just a good all-around effort from the offensive and defensive units from Mayfield. No wonder they're up 20-0.
The ball is on the 46-yard line. They hand it to Jeff Menta, the upback, to the 40, and close to the 35-yard line where he will pick up maybe another first down. When you talk about Giancola, I think the thing that's amazing is the fact that they're not killing this guy by giving him the ball 30 times a game. He's going to see it 15, 20 maybe, which is about what you want him to have.
That's right. You know, he may end up carrying the ball, like you say, not even 20 times tonight. And, you know, he's averaging over 10 yards a carry.
Let's get back to that line again right there. Dan Alfieri with a great block to spring that one. Also on the line, Tom Agresta, John Alaric, and Pete Munson. All of them just doing a great job opening these holes. And if you talk to any of these Mayfield running backs, they're going to tell you the same thing. Yeah, we're getting some yardage on our own, but without the offensive line busting those holes for us, we're not going to get it.
They will measure, as we told you last week, we may as well just refresh your memory that the rules interpretation meeting a couple weeks ago, they are encouraging the referees to bring out the chains whenever you think that it's going to be close. Helps their credibility with the fans on the field to think that if it's close, let's take the time to measure so that there's no doubt, and you can see that that one is about a width of a thumb away from being a first down. And I'm usually pretty good at, that's my strength, is calling the first down. I should be a referee, but I couldn't see because of the Mayfield bench, so haven't really had a chance to test it tonight.
Not yet, not last week either.
I know, it's been terrible. So less than an inch, I would imagine. Depends if the referee's got a fat thumb or not.
I was wondering about that because I have an awful thin thumb.
She's not quite sure where it is. So the ball is on the 36-yard line, and it's second down. Do a little play action here and try to go right for the throat?
Well, certainly this would be a down that you could waste, as they say. You could go up for it, but they've got that twin set, and you may have noticed now that the Blue Devils have adjusted their secondary alignment to that setup.
Straight up the gut they go to Jeff Menta. Plenty of yardage down to the 30-yard line. So the sticks will move again. And Mayfield continues to chug along, and the clock continues to chug along. 9:21. When they set the football, they'll wind it up. And it is appearing as though we will have Ray Paglio in the coach's corner. Very happy to get the call this week because he has never lost on the game of the week.
Well, guys, here's a great indication of how well Mayfield has moved the football this half. At halftime, they had 4 first downs. They've got 12 here in the second half. And conversely, Wickliffe had 8 in the first half. They've only been able to manage 2.
Giancola comes near side, breaks the tackle, flags fly inside the 30 down to the 27.
Now, is it me or did Giancola really just kind of shrug him off? It didn't look like it took him anything to just shrug him out of the way.
So we got a holding call against Mayfield.
Right here.
What are the chances we getting a replay of that on Giancola's last run? Yes, there was a penalty, but maybe it's me, but it just looked awful simple the way he shrugged off a player just about twice his size, it seems like.
Just does a great job of stopping and starting.
Well, at 5'9", you know, he's got a low center of gravity, and he's able to do that when he gets low pad on a potential tackler.
It's like pushes him down with his off arm.
And that's Mike Novak, one of the big defensive linemen.
I've been impressed with Mike Novak. I think he's played a pretty good game for Wickliffe. And I tell you, you know, the game's getting away from him now, but this is not a bad Blue Devil football team, and it's really encouraging for Mayfield to be able to be, at this point, exercising such dominance.
So a first down and 20. Clock is ticking, 8:45 and counting here in the fourth quarter. Tom Waggle to the top of your screen. They run a little counter coming back to the near side as D'Agostino. Not much there. As a matter of fact, lost a couple of yards. So the stick's starting to move backwards for Mayfield, but they don't care. They're used to picking up first downs when it's second down and 16.
But you know, Dave, that's a great, going back to your last comment, that's a great comment because right now Mayfield is blanking a pretty good football team. Make no mistake about it. They may not be showing it, but they've put on a lot of points and they moved the football a lot last year.
They've done it with excellent execution, good mix of the pass and run, not afraid to call some trick plays here and there. It's really been an excellent evening for them. I'm very impressed with them.
Second down and 23. Raul Leone to the top of your screen. And Consolo to throw. Gets it off. Has a man underneath. That's Jeff Menta, and he is down to the 36, 37-yard line maybe. So a fourth down coming up. And I tell you, on Wickliffe's side, you look at who they've scheduled thus far. They have scheduled Eastlake North last week. They've got Mayfield. That they are taking their CVC team, sticking it in the bigger, Greater Cleveland Conference to try to get some experience. And it's tough when you walk away with the losses, but you hope that the experience that you gain down the road will really help.
Well, it strengthens the team and it really seasons them for their own conference. And again, the Chagrin Valley Conference is nothing to sneeze at. There's some really tough teams. We saw a tough Solon team last week. Orange has always got a good squad. They've got a good defensive team. So this can only do Wickliffe good in the long run.
Next week, Wickliffe hosts Willoughby South, so they go through the GCC again. Consolo to throw on third down and long. He will run the football, and he is nailed out of bounds.
You know what's interesting about what you mentioned there, Craig, is because right now Wickliffe is seeing a predominantly running team. Next week they'll see South, and with Jeff Schlatt at quarterback, a kid who can really put the ball in the air. It's a nice way to get your team to be adjusted and be prepared for a couple of different types of offenses.
So coming up, we will have a fourth down and 14. And next week, Mayfield will host Kenston right here at Mayfield High School. And then, of course, the league season begins 2 weeks from tonight for most of the teams in the area. And you can get all the details of what's happening with all the teams every week on the sports page right here on your community programming channel. We've been doing it for over a year now. We just got into our second season with the high school football previews.
5-yard penalty. 4th down.
So there's a 5-yard delay call, but Sports Page will be back on the air this week, and you'll get to see some highlights of this one. The Berea Lake Catholic game is the West Side game of the week. You'll get a chance to see that one as well. But looking forward to bringing you the highlights. The Scott brothers out on the road talking about the other sports, the cross country, the volleyball, the ladies tennis, the golf, all that good stuff that goes on this time of year. 4th down and 19.
There's also rumblings that the Scott brothers will make it out to a field hockey event. And there's going to be illegal motion on Mayfield on that one.
So another flag flies. 5:54 to go in the ball game, and it's getting kind of sloppy.
False start.
It seems like as we come down to the end of the second quarter,
4th down.
the end of the second quarter and the end of this game, the tempo seems to slow drastically.
Come to a screeching halt.
I'm a little surprised by that. A lot of these errors may have to do with fatigue, but these guys had a hot and wet conditioning program that they had to go through this summer, and on a cool evening, you'd think that they'd be a little bit fresher, but you can see fatigue is starting to catch up with some of these fellas.
Matt Waggle into punt. And it's a high snap and right through his fingers. And he's just going to cover the ball. He is down at the 37-yard line. Of course, as soon as the knee touches, you are down. You cannot get back up. So Wickliffe will get the ball in excellent field position, but quite frankly, the clock is definitely against them. They trail at 20-0, and they will get the ball back, but they will be without their starting quarterback, Chris Wamser, who is on the sideline, and we will see Mark Jappel once again. Uh-huh. 5:32 and counting. They pitch the ball back to Lantos. And the truck trying to help us out with the players of the game. They sound good to us. How about you? Oh, Scott's shaking his head. So
I've got a little somebody else in mind on Wickliffe, but we can discuss it. It's always up for discussion. I mean, it's funny
when
because
it's really
normally you say, and Scott will be choosing the player of the game. So
the one week he's got somebody in mind, the truck has a better idea or another idea.
Actually, the trucks is a good idea. I mean, I can't argue with it, but
they really stuck their neck out on their choice for Mayfield.
Yeah. Oh,
that'll be a shocker to everyone.
2nd down and 3, 4:42 and counting. They need this grief in the truck after the night they've had, right, Kerry? So another flag has flown, and it's got to be closing in on midnight about now.
Encroachment, offense, 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Well, I haven't seen this many flags since the last arena football game I went to.
So they'll march the ball back 5 yards, make it 2nd down and, oh, it looks like about 8. The clock is running again, down to 4.5 minutes to go. Mike Ball comes to the near side. Jappel hands the ball straight up the middle. And that is Alex Sorkin, the fullback. And a good gain for Alex as he is down to the 30-yard line. So 3rd down and a couple of yards coming up for the Blue Devils.
You know, with time ticking off as quickly as it is right now in a 20-point deficit that the Blue Devils are facing, you might have expected that they'd be throwing the ball and trying to attack the end zone, but apparently Coach Chinchar may feel that Mark Jappel, only a sophomore at this point, has a better chance of moving the offense by giving their good running backs the ball.
And we hope you're enjoying this one. Craig Dees along with Scott Cirilla and Dave Winham. We are here at Mayfield, and the 3rd down and short play is close to the 25-yard line, and that would be a 1st down for Wickliffe, and Jeff Menta is down on the deck for Mayfield. He's been having some problems with that calf tightening up, and you wonder if it happened again. I don't know if there's, I've broken bones and I've torn muscles, but I don't know if there's anything worse than getting that calf muscle in a cramp, especially in the middle of the night. That's when it's real bad.
I think the only thing worse than the calf cramp is the the hamstring cramp myself. Those are brutal.
You see the play again. It will be a first down for Wickliffe when play resumes. Had the unfortunate mishap this summer, you know, being my age, trying to play softball like I was young again. Tore a quad.
Your age.
There was nothing, I was never in so much pain.
And all you fans out there can call in what you think your worst pain is by dialing 1-900-BAD-PAIN.
So Jeff Menta walks off the field under his own power, which is good news for Mayfield. We haven't had any further word on Chris Wamser, but we haven't seen an ambulance come rolling in here either. It's still sitting down at the end of the field, so maybe it's not as bad as we thought, but down 20 zip, you're not about to bring him back. The word has come down that he is headed for the clinic after the game. He will sit and watch this one. I suppose it won't swell up too bad on a night like tonight, as the temperature's probably in the low 50s, maybe high 40s by now. First down and 10. Jappel goes back to throw, steps up, fires across the middle, and it's picked off. That was an interception for Mayfield. Dan D'Agostino picks that one off. Jappel showing a strong arm, but just a little behind the wide receiver, and it's turnover time.
Well, there's really not much else the Blue Devils can do than to come down, and in that situation, you really have nothing to lose.
So the Wildcats will bring it out. And Jim Mormino will come into the ball game to play quarterback as Joe Consolo's day is done. And a heck of a ball game for Consolo.
He won't get a lot of credit, but he directed the offense well.
Jim Mormino appears to be the heir apparent here as a junior, and what he's shown us so far is he throws the football pretty accurately, 2 out of 2. And he did that on special teams. And we got another whistle down on the field.
Well, one was on a double pass and the other was on a fake punt, and he's 100%. He may want to just hand the ball off for the rest of the game so he can go out with a perfect record.
Timeout is taken by Wickliffe. And we are down to the 2:36 mark, and we'll tell you that tonight's game is brought to you by Geppetto's Pizza and Ribs, the first place in taste, Warehouse Beverage, Monona's Trophies and Awards. They'll be awarding the players of the game after this one, and got a pretty good idea what direction we're headed, which is very unusual. Usually it's 30 seconds to air after the game is over, and we're still scratching our heads, but got a pretty good idea tonight what direction we're going to head. And also Cleveland Sport Goods. I'd like to thank their proud sponsors for being with us tonight, helping to bring you the game of the week as they do each and every week. And again, don't forget, coming up, the sports page is back on the air. Kenny Rhoda and myself hosting that for the best in high school football coverage. Update you on all the standings. Not so important right now with the league season's not started, but we'll let you know how your teams are doing independently, let you know who's the top performers in the area. And so check your local listings or your Cable Views magazine for the sports page right here on your community programming channel.
Hey, is it me, or can you guys go for some Geppetto's Pizza and Ribs and some Warehouse Beverage right about now?
I thought the ribs sound real good, and I'm still waiting for those guys to send some up, and we're just down the road. First down,
mere minutes.
First down and 10 for Wickliffe. Mormino fumbles the snap, and just like David said earlier, when you bring in a new quarterback, that is the first concern.
Yeah, anytime you, really at any level, but particularly at the high school level, when you have a
a girl that looks like that.
When you have a new quarterback or a new center, it can become an adventure, and you worry about it.
So second down and 11 as I see the ambulance rolling in front of us. I just got done saying the ambulance was sitting down at the end of the field. It has now come behind the Wickliffe bench, and I think that Mr. Wasmer is heading away. It took me all night. I was stuck on that. Mr. Wamser will be heading out, and good luck to him. Hope everything works out all right. They hand it to the deep back in the eye, and some fancy footwork down there for Mayfield. Victor Ngolia now into the ball game, number 2. 5'5", 143 pounds.
Of rugged meat.
A lot of guts.
Well, I'm sure the ambulance, they want to get Wamser out of here before the traffic and all the people get out there. There's no need to have him sit around here any longer than he has to once this game is over.
And Wickliffe will take time out. A third down coming up for Mayfield. 3rd down and 7. And this one's all over but the shout. We will have Coach Ray Paglio in the coach's corner. It's a good thing he checked with you before the game, Scott, to make sure we were still doing that. Now he'll know where to go, and we'll be able to chat with him and talk about what went on tonight. Always a nice feature here on the Game of the Week. And Mayfield off to a 2-0 start this season. Got to be pleasing the crowd, which has really thinned out below us as the last couple 15 minutes or so has cruised on by.
Well, there's still a pretty good unit of Mayfield faithful hanging in there, but it's getting cold, guys. I'll tell you what, some of these guys probably didn't prepare by bringing a jacket or a coat and have to head for the cars.
So a 3rd down and 7. Jim Mormino under center. Trevisano, number 44, in the backfield, along with Victor Ngolia. And Ngolia with a fine run across the 15, close to the 20. It looks like he might be just a little shy of the 1st down.
Well, I tell you what, he really attacks with full speed, doesn't he?
And they will mark him shy of the 1st down by about a yard.
And that wasn't really by any means a clean center quarterback exchange. That one, he bobbled the ball a little bit after the snap on that one as well.
They will bring the chains into measure on 4th down, or what would be 4th down. Looks like it might be a little shy by maybe half a yard.
Okay, we're going to test it.
Here we go. Well, maybe a little closer than that, but it's still a little shy by about the length of the football. So I'm sure Mayfield will kick this thing away. Wickliffe will get one more chance with not a whole lot of time left and only one timeout to try to put something on the board.
Well, it's like we mentioned last week when Brush got some points on late in their game against Solon. Nobody likes to get shut out, and it always gives you something to work on because, hey, you do have a minute left and you still want to work on some things. You know, quite frankly, put some points on the board.
And Scott, that becomes even more important in a situation such as this. You know, hopefully Worms is going to be okay, but if he's out, they're going to be dependent on Mark Chappell to, to take him through the next game or who knows how many games. So, heck, you might as well get him, as many snaps as you can, let him throw the ball a little bit.
Well put, absolutely.
So Jim Mormino, 4th down and short, and Mayfield goes for it here. They get a 1st down here. This one is all but done. No flags. They've got the 1st down as they hand the ball to Victor Ngolia. Lost his helmet and all, but does pick up the 1st down. And on the far side, we do see that Chris Wamser is in the ambulance with a splint on the leg, and he is headed out of here. So a 1st down for Mayfield. They'll probably have to run another play. There's only 38 seconds to go, so I'm sure this will do it, and we will be talking about the players of the game. We will have Ray Paglio in the coach's corner once again. They may sign us up here to come back and do all their games because he has never lost since we've gotten here, and that's 3 years already.
How about this Vic Ngolia?
Yeah.
Tell you what, I'm getting to where I'm getting better at pronouncing his name because he's doing such a great job.
Right on time. There's only 10 seconds left.
And only a sophomore. So, again, getting some of the younger guys some playing time, like you said.
He's a tough customer. He really attacks at full speed.
And they will not get a playoff, and that will do it. We have come to the end of this one. Before we take our break, we will let you know that tonight's game is brought to you with the support of Geppetto's Pizza and Ribs, the first place in taste on Mayfield Road in South Euclid. Then walk across the street to Warehouse Beverage. You can stop in, see Al, Mike, and Paul for all your beverage needs. Tonight's game is also brought to you by Minota's Trophies and Awards at 1475 Green Road at Mayfield. And by Cleveland Sport Goods. Stop in at their new expanded location at 4452 Mayfield Road at Green and check out their selection of school and varsity jackets. A big win tonight for the Mayfield Wildcats. They go to 2-0. Wickliffe falls to 0-2. The final score, Mayfield 20, Wickliffe nothing. We'll be back with post-game activities after you watch this.
This is just one of the many parts you can play as a young Red Cross volunteer. Volunteer and play your part.
20-0 is your final score here as Mayfield beats Wickliffe. And down in the coach's corner, we have Ray Paglio, the head coach here at Mayfield. And this is getting to be like old hat. It seems every year we do a game, Ray, you're in the coach's corner. But I want to start out by talking not about the offense, but about the defense. Last week, your base defense only gave up 1 touchdown, and tonight they pitched a shutout.
Well, I'll tell you, Coach Johns and Coach Agresta have been doing a great job with the defense, and they got the kids believing in what they're doing, and their kids are hustling. We're not real deep, but we got a lot of kids that are spelling other people, and we're getting a real good team effort. We got some young people in the secondary, and they're responding very well to coaching.
You know, Coach, I wanted to talk about the offense because when you've got a kid like Chris Giancola, unofficially for tonight, 184 yards, it must make calling the offense awful easy.
That's not bad. Jim Nally calls the offensive plays, the offensive coordinator, and he's well aware of Chris's abilities, and he believes very much in their offensive line. Larry Pinto does a great job with the offensive line, and Tony Ware's in charge of a lot of the situation-type plays. And, you know, again, as a staff, I think that they got a real good grasp for what Chris can do and what our offensive line can do, and we have the ability, I think, to make some big plays.
Coach, this is Dave Winham. First of all, congratulations on a great job.
Thank you.
A terrific showing.
Thank you.
But we came up here, and Scott was discussing with us that it was going to be a conservative approach, and then we see all this razzle-dazzle. I was wondering if maybe you can chalk talk me here sometime next week.
I didn't see any razzle-dazzle. No, we have some situation-type plays that Coach Ware and Coach Nall and Coach Pinto have talked about and created, and they're not really razzle-dazzle as much as, I guess, situations, like I said, where they're kind of the unexpected at times, hopefully.
Well, obviously you put some time in on them and you execute them really well. You got to be happy.
Yes, we are, very much so. The execution has been extremely important, and like I said, I think that's what makes winning teams, guys that make the play in key situations.
Well, Ray, I tell you what we'll do. You give us a call when you need us to come back and when you need a win, and we'll be more than happy to do that.
We can do that anytime you want.
Congratulations once again.
Great job, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Ray Paglio, the head football coach here of the Mayfield Wildcats. Time to get to the Minotis trophies, players of the game, and one of them was just a very difficult decision, and that was the Mayfield one and Chris Giancola. What a fine job, and we talked about how well he played all game, and not carrying the ball that many times, getting almost 200 yards for the second week in a row.
I think they, again, unofficially listed him at 13 carries, 184 yards. He had the 75-yard touchdown 2 weeks in a row, 180 yards plus, 5 touchdowns. What more do you want out of the kid? Jeez, oh man, and we're not even in the conference yet.
Dave, being a coach yourself, and you look at a kid like Giancola, the fact that he is not ducking anybody. He's going to put a move on you as well as put his head down and try to run you down.
Well, you know, he's not a big guy. He's 5'9", but he's got great balance, decent speed, but he's got real good agility. You know, he makes people miss, and one guy's not going to bring him down. And, you know, averaging doggone near 15 yards a carry. What a showing. I don't care what level you're playing at.
For the Wickliffe Blue Devils, Mark Lantos is the recipient of the player of the game, and Lantos did a fine job of running the football for Wickliffe as well as defensively making a few tackles.
Yeah, on offense, Lantos had 13 carries for 73.